So the Prime Minister believes the opposition and especially the Congress is targeting him because he's delivering on development, and it's not just the BJP that's being targeted, it's the Prime Minister specifically. The opposition remains up in arms. The Congress has hit back saying the Prime Minister is actually hiding behind the bogey of Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, saying that women MPs were out to target him, saying there's no question of attacking the Prime Minister. But is there clearly no middle ground now between the Treasury benches and the opposition in the rest of the budget session? Joining me on India First is Aishwarya Mahadev, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Rohan Gupta represents the Bharatiya Janata Party, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Shubhrastha is a political analyst. Sanjay Jha also joins us on this show as a political analyst. Also joining me is Advaita Kala, author and analyst. But Aishwarya, let me begin by asking you. Prime Minister says the Congress wants to dig his grave. Modi teri kabr khudegi, because electorally the Congress can no longer defeat him because he's hit terror at source, put Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, and he's put out a long list. His development agenda is the reason why the Congress wants him in his grave.
Good evening, Gaurav. I have to make one remark. I thought that speech was absolutely brilliant, except that Prime Minister Modi is not sitting in opposition. He is the Prime Minister of the nation. And while he can sit and make his entire speech attacking the opposition for intent, for absolutely nothing having happened before 2014, there are a few things he's very, very definitively deflecting from, and that happens to be the problem. First of all, you talk about a few things about how development is so great, the budget was brilliant. How much of it did the Prime Minister actually talk about? How much of it, of his schemes, how much of the utilization, how much of the development did he actually talk about? His entire speech cornered around, we're doing well, and the people before us were very, very bad, and all we're trying to do is fix it. 11 years on, is that a fair enough response, Gaurav? Shouting Viksit Bharat without telling you what it even means is not policy. It is basically pandering to the masses of these ideas and ideals of what we're going to implement, while none of it has actually been done in reality. And Gaurav, just a few observations, right? You know, they talk about vision and intent of the Congress not being there. Even if I concede, even if I say the Green Revolution did not happen, even if I say that India under the UPA was able to walk away with a trade deal without the nuclear deal, rather, without signing the 67's NPT, and still was seen as a global powerhouse, even conceding the IT boom didn't happen, or Narega, which also saved lives during COVID, did not happen. Tell me, what is Prime Minister Modi doing differently? His PM Kisan Yojana he spoke about, but what about rural lives, rural livelihood, rural housing? Have you seen the massive drop in the budget utilization? You talk about how your revenue deficit is under control. Yes, have you seen the amount of money that you've cut from crucial social sector spending? The Prime Minister can talk everything he wants about how he's being attacked. He can attack the Congress for everything he wants. But as a Prime Minister, tell us, besides that one bridge he spoke about, while 7 bridges collapsed in NDA Bihar and one in Vadodara itself, tell me, what is the substantial development that Prime Minister Modi even spoke about? His speech
let me take this to Rohan Gupta.
Leader, and he needs to move past that and talk about what exactly is the development in the country today, Gaurav.
Fair enough. Rohan Gupta, respond. Congress says this is pure diversionary tactics. This is pure deflection. It's all about the Prime Minister's intent, and it's not about development except the Bogeybill Bridge. Response, sir.
I think I have a little bad network. So in case I am not able to communicate properly, just give me time after 2 minutes. See, the point here is, if there is an issue of narrative with the ruling party, then why the leader of opposition has to divert the topic from the president's thank address to the other issues? Congress is completely issueless. They could have spoken on budget. They could have spoken on what is wrong in budget, but no. The whole country is watching. Who has derailed the complete session? It is the leader of opposition, because he had no issue. And that is why the personal attack on Modi ji. And the whole world is watching the way India is growing, the GDP numbers, overall growth numbers, the overall atmosphere. And still, if it's Congress is not ready to believe it, it is the issue with Congress. And I completely agree. As an opposition party, you must criticize the government. You must ask the questions. But when you had opportunity to ask the question in Parliament, what you did? You derailed it. You went somewhere else. You ensured that the ruckus happens so that you don't have to answer. Because you don't have the questions.
Okay. You want to quickly take that, Sanjay Jha? You want to quickly take that because it's the job of the opposition to criticize the government, but this particular discussion was in response to the presidential address. The Prime Minister was to respond, but before that, the Congress or the other opposition had to. The BJP says Rahul Gandhi completely derailed it, took it altogether in a different direction and not on some of the issues that Aishwarya has just raised, sir. Sir, you're on mute. Request you to unmute yourself, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Strength 5, go on, sir.
Okay. Rahul Gandhi, as the leader of the opposition, under the section, I think, 349, has all legitimate right to speak on anything that he believes is of national importance, especially when in the president's address, national security was raised. Number two, you had a BJP MP who made extremely disparaging remarks, which is the usual BJP obsession about the Congress's role in nationalism. I don't think the BJP is very embarrassed even today, has a serious inferiority complex because the Congress was part of the freedom struggle and the BJP was, and their forefathers weren't. But let's cut to the chase and come to the core point. Mr. Modi actually criticized Rahul Gandhi for hurting the sentiments of Sikhs and said that he is calling the Sikhs a traitor. Now, I have a lot of friends who are frankly from the Sikh community, and I personally took great offense to what Mr. Modi said. I'll tell you why. Because unfortunately for Mr. Modi, I was a very active spokesperson for the Congress when Mr. Modi's party had to issue an apology. And let me read out to you and tell you that Mr. Modi forgot that the man he insulted amongst the Sikhs was no ordinary Sikh. He insulted Dr. Manmohan Singh. And guess what Mr. Modi called Dr. Manmohan Singh? He called Dr. Manmohan Singh a traitor. I'm going to prove to the viewers of India today how Mr. Modi has lied on the floor of Parliament. And let me take 30 seconds to read to you what Dr. Manmohan Singh in writing said to the Prime Minister. Just hear me out, it'll take 30 seconds. Dear Prime Minister, I'm writing this letter to express my deep anguish and disappointment over your ill-informed and unfortunate remarks about me and a former army chief. Your attempt to politicize national security and to level false allegations against me is deeply regrettable and unacceptable. To allege that I was conspiring with Pakistan or compromising the nation's interest is complete falsehood. Last two paras. No Prime Minister has ever made such baseless allegations against a former Prime Minister. These remarks are not only factually wrong, but also lower the dignity of the office he occupied. Last para, Gaurav.
Sir, if I may, if this is in connection with the Siachen Glacier, I have myself done in India
No,
Today
it is not.
cover.
It is not. Don't
Okay.
interrupt me. This is
Okay.
about the allegations that Mr. Modi made during the 2017 Gujarat elections, where he insinuated that Dr. Manmohan Singh, Manishankar Iyer, army chiefs were planning to make a Mia as the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Let me come to the last paragraph. It will shame Mr. Modi. It will shame the BJP. And my dear friend Rohan has probably nowhere to hide. Let me read the last para. Public discourse during elections must remain civil and respectful. It is unbecoming of a sitting Prime Minister to make such insinuations that undermine the integrity of those who have served the nation faithfully. Guess what, Dr.
Rahul,
Manmohan?
you wanted to respond.
Guess what,
Rahul,
Dr. Manmohan
Rohan,
Singh's last line? I urge you to retract your statement and apologize to the nation.
Problem
Rohan
is,
Gupta wants to
Sanjay,
respond before
my
I bring
friend,
in. Before
let
I
him
bring
answer.
in
just a
Advaita
small
and
comment, my friend
Shubhrastha.
Sanjay. See, generally, I agree or disagree with Sanjay, but one thing I always had in mind that Sanjay will call spade a spade. Do you, Sanjay, advocate somebody calling some minister traitor on face of it, and that is also a leader of opposition? Do you justify that act? I am asking you very simple, basic question today. At least
Rohan
you
Gupta.
criticize that. You
Rohan
cannot be,
Gupta.
just keep mum on that. You definitely,
Yeah,
we are in politics, we can differ with each
can
other.
answer you.
Definitely political allegations can be made, but on the face of somebody calling a traitor in the parliament building by LOP, do you feel that is justified by any means or any standards, Sanjay? What is
Okay,
your
so
comment
is
on
it
that?
about one individual, Shubhrastha, Rahul Gandhi
sir.
and the Congress party is making it very clear that it was Rahul Gandhi on Ravneet Bittu who was earlier with the Congress, then shifted to the BJP. So he's a traitor, according to the Congress, to the cause and ideology of the Congress. It's nothing to do with the Sikh community. It's only to do with one individual. However, even the Prime Minister Shubhrastha said it's about the Sikh community being called a traitor. You're on mute, ma'am.
I have unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Strength 5. Go on, ma'am.
Yes. So I think the way you explained the situation right now, I wish Rahul Gandhi had put it out as clearly as you explained it right now. I don't think that kind of clarification came from him. If there is anybody there who needs to apologize, it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who should really come out and say what he clearly meant. Because if he really meant, by Gaddar, he meant Gaddar of Congress, he should just come and say that. What's the problem? Instead of making a mountain out of a molehill, he can just do a press conference, because he's quite media friendly, I've heard, and that's the narrative that's floated around by the Congress and the Congress sympathizers. He can do a press conference and say that, well, I apologize to Mr. Modi and the BJP and BJP supporters and the RSS and whoever they feel are their adversaries, that my speech is being read in a wrong light, and I actually meant Gaddar of Congress rather than Gaddar of India. It's as simple as that. But he
Advaita,
wouldn't
is
do
it as
that.
simple as that? Or is the Prime Minister saying that no, this is a mindset, that regret could have been there on the floor of the House today, it could have been outside the House today, that didn't mean Gaddar, didn't call the Sikh community Gaddars, it was only meant Gaddar of the Congress ideology. But he said it's arrogance that even that did not happen today. In fact, the Congress has doubled down on it with other remarks being made, according to the BJP, madam.
But that has always been the situation in case of a political verbal slugfest like this. Congress has never ever come out in the open to say that, well, Rahul Gandhi might fall short on communication. Maybe he's not comfortable in Hindi, and every time tries to make a speech in Hindi, he makes a faux pas. So why can't people just come out and explain that?
Advaita into this conversation. Advaita, did the Prime Minister, if a paper was hurled in the direction of the presiding officer, he said, this is not insult of a MP from Assam, it's the insult of Assamese people. If it's from an MP from Andhra Pradesh, the Prime Minister says it's insulting people of Andhra. Or if it's the President's address, he said it's insulting the tribals. Is he kind of extending that conversation because there are elections in Assam and next year in Punjab? Is he making political capital out of a political slugfest?
There are two ways to look at this. Of course, the Prime Minister is a politician. That is part of his identity. That is going to be part of his rhetoric. I don't think that we need to necessarily split hair over that, because you can look into his motivation from both angles. That of being a politician and that of also being the elected head of a state. And he's absolutely right in making those parallels about the people sitting in those chairs being representatives of their areas, be it their communities, be it their region, be it their linguistic identity. They are representing that in the floor of the House, because all of us cannot be there. So they are going in our stead and representing our many identities as well as our concerns. So, there are two ways to view this, and I think both ways are equally justifiable.
So let me bring in Aishwarya for a moment, because Aishwarya, this isn't just the Prime Minister. Look at what Speaker Om Birla said. He said it's a dark day for Indian parliamentary democracy when 6 women MPs tried to target the Prime Minister, and it was the Speaker who advised the Prime Minister not to come to the floor of the House. And the first time since 2004, it's happened that the Prime Minister could not respond to the presidential address in Lok Sabha. So clearly, is this an attempt to target the Prime Minister on the floor of the House by women MPs?
Okay, Gaurav, just two responses. First thing, precise, I think somebody spoke about mountain out of a molehill, and I think that's exactly what has happened here. In the case of Mr. Bittu, where a short interaction was basically pushed to the point of absurdity. And knowing Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is as honest, any other turncoat, including some we've seen very recently, he would also have said the same. But the point of absurdity is that you push it to make it a sort of communal and also religious and also the identity of the person. But who else the BJP themselves called Gaddars? Those lakhs of farmers at the border who spent months on end protesting for the repeal of the farm laws, the same exact same community that Prime Minister Modi is now trying to protect, with the people that were shot with water cannons. You saw old farmers being attacked. And now you come here trying to act like you're the guardian of the Sikh faith. You are not. This is sheer rank hypocrisy, first. And second, Speaker Om Birla talks about this idea of a dark day. So it wasn't the day that my MP Fulo Devi Neetam had to have her hand broken by a marshal. It wasn't the day where you had MPs thrown out or bills passed at 3 a.m. in the night. It wasn't the day where you saw BJP MP's own guests try and harm members of parliament in session. But the dark day happens to be 6 members of parliament standing in front of the treasury benches to talk about an issue. This is classic deflection, Gaurav, because the fact is this: the Congress is criticizing the government on policy, while the Prime Minister is responding like he is being attacked. And this is classic
No, but
victimhood
where was that
being foisted
policy
upon the
discussion
entire
on the
nation.
floor
Let
of
me
the
talk
House?
about it. One second.
If it's being raised,
Gaurav,
if it's
Gaurav,
it's about
I
some
still have
former army chief's unpublished
10
book.
seconds. 10 seconds. 10
Okay,
seconds. 10
go on, ma'am.
For the fact that the Prime Minister spoke about how we're doing so well at the border, it is quite scary that the man wouldn't allow a book that talks about a contrarian view. So freedom of speech be damned. That's one part. Second thing is, what is the Congress spoken about? I have viewed every MP's speech, whether it was the Jal Jeevan Mission, whether it was the Gram Sadak, whether it was healthcare. We have spoken time and time again also about dancing instead of actually being a strong leader. We have spoken about policy and issues, while the Prime Minister's entire speech seemed to be attacking the Congress. We are not in government. We will be soon, but maybe the Prime Minister would do well to talk about the
Shubhrastha wants to
actual
respond
development,
to
right?
you
Instead
because
of theatrics.
Shubhrastha, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also shot back saying that there was no question whatsoever about women MPs, and she says 3, Speaker says of course 6, or parliamentary sources says 6 women MPs, that there was no question of trying to attack the Prime Minister. This is only deflection tactics from the core issue that Rahul Gandhi was trying to raise.
And if Rahul Gandhi was trying to raise a core issue, why did he not stick to the core? And why did he make the kind of statement that he did? This is why, and I think I was cut short when I was trying to say the same thing. For the past few, months, we have constantly observed Rahul Gandhi make some comment which might have nothing to do with the kind of politics he's trying to play. But he is, he cannot communicate well. He's not well versed in Hindi, which is why every time he wants to convey something, it completely goes haywire. And I absolutely agree with Advaita, Gaurav. Every MP, even if the MP comes from the opposition camp, represents all of us. You cannot be, shallow about your remarks. When you say Gaddar, you should have qualified it right then and there. Because we all know the kind of, conversations around anti-nationalism and anti-nationalists that has been happening in this country for quite some time. If you're really that protective about your political capital, you will go ahead and, protect them. But Rahul Gandhi has a habit of throwing all his karyakartas under the bus.
So,
Whether they are,
is there merit in the
trading against
opposition
him as
with
he
the Prime
wants
Minister
to
saying that the
or
opposition
with
is
him?
driven by personal hate towards him rather than critiquing his policies? So anything he does, they end up criticizing, because they hate the Prime Minister, they criticize whatever development is taking place or whatever action is taking place.
Yes, the comments that have come in from the Congress leadership post the Prime Minister's address have been entirely personal. He's a narcissist. He's theatrical. He's this, he's that. I mean, where have they critiqued what he said? What was theatrical was actually staging a walkout. And then the moment his speech is over, you have comments to make, which means you clearly watched his speech. You just did the theatrics for walking out of Parliament. So I think, even their response has been so personal, even in what they have to say about him, that they don't ever get to the point. And this is, harming them, that they don't seem to get that. And Rahul Gandhi, frankly, he has a tendency to walk into dog pile all the time. And then everybody else, from spokespersons to supporters, are just trying to undo the damage. And this is a cycle on
So
repeat.
for a moment, so I'm just about to be joined by Professor Jeffrey Sachs from the United States of America, of the Columbia University, on the India-US trade deal, and who blinked, because the opposition's attacking the government. The government insists that they've held their ground. Before I bring in Professor Jeffrey Sachs, I want all our viewers to listen into the Prime Minister on the India-US deal, and which is yet to be inked, and of course the India-EU free trade agreement. Listen into the Prime Minister. I'll get you more on the story, and of course Professor Jeffrey Sachs exclusive coming up on the other side of a quick break. Stay with us.
बड़े बड़े देश भारत के साथ व्यापारिक संबंध बनाने के लिए बहुत ही आतुर है। यूरोपीय संघ का ट्रेड डील हो, अमेरिका के साथ अभी अभी हुआ जो ट्रेड डील हो, और कल हमारे पीयूष जी ने सदन में विस्तृत जानकारी भी दी है, और पूरा विश्व खुलकर के इस ट्रेड डील का तारीफ कर रहा है। और उसमें जब यूरोपियन यूनियन के साथ ट्रेड डील हुआ तो विश्व को एक भरोसा हुआ कि अब वैश्विक स्तर पर स्थिरता की संभावना बढ़ेगी। अमेरिका के साथ ट्रेड डील होने के बाद विश्व को और भरोसा हो गया कि जो स्थिरता के एहसास हो रहा था, अब गति का भी एहसास होने लगा है। अब विश्व के लिए